That's cool. This is a great.
You might as well blush together.
למי שלא שם לב, הני התחילה לדבר. למי שלא שם לב.
I should really get Yitzi. That's usually his tough kid to get everybody quiet.
Okay,
right?
no, he's on Chofish.
Not at all, for sure not.
Okay, Monique. Monique. Okay, Hamotzi, come.
Hamotzi. No.
Amen. Let's get over here. Okay. All right. Ilana asked me to speak tonight on behalf of the siblings. And I got this kavod just because I'm the only one that speaks. Okay?
Is that my bar mitzvah?
And I'm also the only sister, yeah. Please don't interrupt me.
It's not my bar mitzvah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Be a gentleman for once in your life, Johnny, okay? Okay, so when they asked me to speak and I started to think about it, I said, I remembered something that my mother, may she rest in peace, our mother said, and that was, your friends don't need it and your enemies don't believe it.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into what a good son and devoted son he was to our parents. And I think that's proof in the fact that he's raising money and going to build a shul in our father's memory. And I'm not going to go into how he's always been there also for the family. I'm not going to go into that. What I am going to do is tell you what it was like growing up with Danny.
Oh no.
Yes, this is the part where I embarrass
Don't worry,
you.
she didn't have that much long to grow up with you.
Yes, I didn't have that much longer. Okay.
His long nose pliers.
So, I really am going to be merciful.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell the most embarrassing stories.
Oh, okay.
Can you email it later?
More on the gentle side. But the first thing, I was discussing it with one of my daughters, and I said, you know, what am I going to tell about? And she said, tell them why you walk so fast. Okay? Now, for those of you that have had to walk with Danny, I don't know if he still walks at the same pace.
Yes, he does.
I also walk fast.
Right.
You run.
Now, that's it. Now, I had to walk to school with him, okay? He had to walk me to school. And I think he also wasn't too thrilled with the fact that he had to walk me to school. All right? I don't know whether maybe that was the reason that he especially walked fast. So I had to learn to walk fast to keep up with you. And that became my pace. And when my kids would go to town to me, and this is my young daughters, right? They're supposed to be fit, they're young, and they're this, running to keep up with me, they would say, Ima, slow down. Why do you walk so fast? And so I would tell them, it's because of Danny, all right? You have to blame these things on somebody. And I always had attributed to Danny, so that was the first thing that popped to one of my kids' mind when I said, what am I going to tell about Danny? But I think the most amazing thing is Danny introduced me to Yitzi. I introduced him to Monique. And family is everything. We are still talking to one another, okay? Which, you know, really shows it. And
not only that,
yes,
but to the extent that his son and your daughter are pretty much neighbors, but yes.
Yes, and cousins.
Yeah, that's right.
And cousins.
Right.
All right. You don't want to even get into the genetics of this family.
Yeah.
But I'd like to say something about how Yitzi and I met. Danny and I had a very healthy sibling relationship. Couldn't live with or without each other. Okay? We, you know, told each other everything, we discussed everything, and then, you know, beat each other up, okay? But that's a very healthy family relationship.
Yeah.
Right, that's very healthy, and you want to see your kids do that, you're very pleased when your kids do that. At least I know I am with mine, because I consider that to be a healthy sibling relationship. I met Yitzi when, in those days, way back in the previous century, the boys did not come here after high school for yeshiva. They did junior year in college. So Danny was in BMT, Midrash Torah, which was already closed, has been
Basketball
gone.
means Torah.
Right, right.
I'm Rechovav Barbanel.
Rechovav Barbanel
B'Yerushalayim.
Yeah, right. And Yitzi was there. It was the second class. He had come over from Yeshiva University in his third year of college. And Danny was really the only boy in the yeshiva that lived in Israel. Most of them were Chutz La'aretz guys here for the year. So, min hastam, he would bring the guys home. And Danny
Like
had
all the brothers did from
right, like
Michigan
right, and these
New
boys,
York,
I always
yeah.
thought, like my other brothers did in New York,
Yeah,
and I always
yeah.
thought of the guys that came home with them as more brothers. I mean, I was a professional kid sister, right? I was only used to guys being around, and you know, it never meant anything to me that they brought their friends home. That was, you know, that was usual for me. Danny had a clique of like 4 guys that came home with him on a pretty regular basis.
When we would bring kids home, you were 5 years
Right.
old.
I know, so you were
Yeah, well,
You had,
Are you kidding?
you should have spoken up if you had your eye on
Kenny,
something.
right, Kenny Gribbets
Yeah, right.
Kenny Gribbets came to visit Abba and Mommy in Washington Street, and he came with his wife, and I walked in and I said, boy, it's been a long time since I sat on your lap. And I can imagine what his wife thought, but okay, these guys were the same. They were more brothers. Every time my brothers came home, they came home, so they were my brothers. So Danny had this clique. And to tell you the truth, I don't know why I really didn't notice Yitzi all year. I guess the time was not right.
He was thinner then.
I don't know, maybe.
Thank you.
Now I'm wondering why I noticed him at all, but
I can't hear him over 60.
You don't have
That's
anybody
it.
to get home besides him, so.
that's it. Anyway, so, but Purim that year, our parents were away. They were in the States. They still go back to the States to visit. Right. You know, cats away. And Danny and I had the house, the apartment to ourselves, and the Volvo. And we decided to go Purim night, which is not Purim in Yerushalayim, to Bar Ilan University, because they were having a carnival there, and our cousin Sandy was there for the year. We figured we'll go visit Sandy, we'll go to the carnival and have a good time. So it was Danny and 3 of his friends, one of which was Yitzi, and myself and my best friend at the time, a girl by the name of Eliza, and we all went off to Eliza Levine, right? Okay, who was in high school with me. Anyway, so we went to Bar Ilan that evening, and I don't know, somehow actually Yitzi and I got talking, and that's when things kind of clicked between us. Anyway, on the way home, I had cooked for dannys60th Esther a ton of food to break the fast. Overcooked, I still overcook. Yeah.
But you're filling up with people enough to eat.
Right, right. Okay, I'm always worried. Right. I'm always worried that there's not enough. Okay, I overcook. So, in the car that day on the way back, I said, "Listen, guys, I cooked a ton to break the fast with. You're all welcome to come to lunch tomorrow. Anybody wants to come and help us eat up this stuff." The only guy to show up was Yitzi. A way to a man's heart. Okay, so he came. He was very appreciative of the meal. We won't go into that. I obviously was a good cook. And that evening, I went out with somebody else. I had a date that was arranged. And it bothered me. Like the whole evening, I was thinking about this. And I came home and Danny was sleeping. And I woke Danny up and I said, "Get up, I need to talk to you." And he's like, "No, get up, I need to talk to you." Okay.
Those were the days when I slept.
Right, anyhow, he was out cold. Poor guy, he was out
No
cold.
cable, and I'm just like.
So he sat up and I said, "I'm in love with one of your friends."
You said like that?
Yeah, and he goes, "Who?" And I go, "Yes." So he named one of the other guys that was, in the chevra. And I said, "No." And then he named another guy. And I said, "No." And he said, "Then who is it?" And I said, "Yitzi Etkin." And he said, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Yitzi has a dozen girls writing to him from New York. He wouldn't look twice at you." So if I wasn't depressed before, I'm double depressed then. All right? So I go to sleep even more miserable than I was before I woke up dead.
Wait a minute. Is this my life or is it your life? The next day, Yitzi comes over with the chevre,
he gets drunk. He gets drunk something fierce. Really? A place where we had to lock him in a room.
I don't remember. She remembers. I don't remember.
Right, you were drunk.
I don't remember.
But before we locked him up, he raised up a glass and he went. You know, people tell the truth when they're drunk. At least that's what I've been told. He held up a glass and he said, "To the upcoming relationship between my two best friends." So then I had to reciprocate. Monique came home to study with me. She was my friend from class. Danny's vision, Aliyah and Hara, it's good. And after Monique left one day when she came home to study with me, Danny says, "You think your friend Monique would want to go out with me?" I said, "I don't know, Danny." I mean, I never asked her, is she going out with somebody? Is she seeing somebody? And it's like none of my business, but I'll ask her. So I asked Monique, and she said, you know, she was interested. And
I have to ask my parents.
I reciprocated.
This is, you know.
Have you asked them yet? They're here. They're here. You can ask them now if you
this
want.
was way back when. So I reciprocated, and unfortunately I didn't toast then to the upcoming relationship between my two best friends. But like I said, we've always been very involved in each other's lives, and he always has been there for me, and I hope he knows that I've always been there for him. And Danny, on behalf of the siblings, but especially of myself, I want to wish you a lot of happiness, a lot of health with your wonderful wife, your beautiful children, your gorgeous grandchildren. Ad Mea Vesrim.
She missed out the son-in-law. She missed out the son. Now Honey's going to hug him and she's going to beat him up like she promised she was going to do.
Put your camera over there.
Where do you want it now? Where do you want it?
That's going to go with me, Ad Mea Vesrim.
I want to say something.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Wait, Herschel is
This
going to
is
say
an
something.
honor.
Get this on film.
Steve, sorry.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
Yes. I remember that. But
It's clean now,
I want to say a word about Monique, okay? About an Eshet Chayil. We were fortunate or unfortunate not to live in Jerusalem of all the siblings. And one of the good points of not living here was that my father didn't call me up at the middle of the night, and he called Danny. And had he called me, Carol would have beaten me to a pulp, and Monique had to live with it and was a good wife. And Danny was the best son that you can imagine. Every time my father called at all hours and all sorts of things, Danny was the man that took care of
Miami,
it.
continued there every winter.
Elama.
We were happy to.
He would follow you. He had to follow.
Cottage cheese, the bananas.
Followed the sun.
Follow the sun.
very much, Ma.
So, are you ready? Because it's filming.
Okay.
Contest.